Shabbat Shalom. I'm Rabbi Amy Ehrlich. Cantor Mo Glassman and I welcome you to Temple Emanu-El. Always these little things. We can all grow. We welcome you to Temple Emanu-El. And whether you are here with us in person or joining us online, we are enriched by your participation and blessed by the community that we create together. Today is the first Shabbat in the month of Elul, the month which precedes the High Holy Days. And in keeping with the tradition of preparing our hearts for renewal, it is customary to read Psalm 27 daily. Listen to its message of trust and faith. The Lord is my light and my help. Whom should I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Whom should I dread? Should an army besiege me, my heart would have no fear. Should war beset me, still I would be confident. One thing I ask of the Lord, only that do I seek, to live in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. The psalm is, of course, much longer, and I encourage you to read it and return to it throughout this month. As we strengthen ourselves with its message of trust in God's sheltering kindness, may we find the strength to make this month a journey toward the person we hope to become. Please turn to page 52 as we continue with the candle lighting. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. Together, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadik
Now that we've welcomed Shabbat, I invite you to turn to those around you and wish them Shabbat Shalom, welcome, a sweet week. We continue now in the prayer book with L'chuna Ranana on page 55. We enhance Shabbat joy whenever we sing songs of praise. Page 55.
Neranena Bizmiro Narialo Levanena Adonai Lefuneranena Adonai Naria Letzishenu Nekata Ana Betoda Naria Letzishenu Nekata Ana Betoda Bizmiro Narialo Bizmiro Narialo Bizmiro Narialo
We turn now to page 63 as we welcome the Sabbath bride with Lecha Dodi, page 63.
Chadodi likra kahala, bene Shabbat nekabla. Chadodi likra kahala, Shamor v'zachor b'diburecha rishmiyanu el hameyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'litchila v'echadodi likra kahala v'nei Shabbat nekabla v'echadodi likra kahala Likrat Shabbat lechuvanecha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesu asok maaseh b'machshava tchila v'echadodi likrat kahala v'nei Shabbat nekabla v'echadodi likrat kahala v'nei Shabbat Hitoreri kiva orech kumiori uri shir daberi kavod Adonai alayik nigla yechadodi likra kahala v'nei Shabbat nekabla Hoi v'shalom ateret ba'alagam b'simcha u'v'tzolatoch emuneh am segula Hoi kala Hoi
We continue on page 105 with Baruch Hu. Please rise as you are able.
Et Adonai am bevorach
O God, how can we know you? Where can we find you? You are as close to us as breathing, yet you are farther than the farthermost star. You are as mysterious as the vast solitudes of night, yet as familiar to us as the light of the sun. To Moses you said, "You cannot see my face, but I will make all my goodness pass before you." Even so does your goodness pass before us in the realm of nature and in the varied experiences of our lives. When justice burns like a flaming fire within us, when love evokes willing sacrifice from us, when to the last full measure of selfless devotion, we demonstrate our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness, then your goodness enters our lives. Then you live within our hearts, and we, through righteousness, behold your presence. We rise and say together, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one.
Adonai Elohecha, b'chol לבבך, b'chol נפשך, ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך, בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך, ובקומך, וקשרתם לעוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
I, the Eternal, have called you to righteousness and taken you by the hand and kept you. I have made you a covenant people, a light to the nations. We are Israel, our prophets proclaimed an exalted vision for the world. Hate evil and love what is good. Let justice well up as waters and righteousness as a mighty stream. We are Israel, schooled in the suffering of the oppressed. You shall not oppress your neighbors nor rob them. You shall not stand idle while your neighbor bleeds. We are Israel, taught to beat swords into plowshares, commanded to pursue peace. Violence shall no longer be heard in your land, desolation and destruction within your borders. All your children shall be taught of the Eternal, and great shall be the peace of your children. We are Israel, O God, when we proclaim you the God of freedom, as did our ancestors on the shores of the sea.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא, נורא, נורא תהילות, עושה פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי, ענו ואמרו. מלכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי, ענו ואמרו.
The middle of page 109. Cause us, eternal our God, to lie down in peace and to awaken each morning to renewed life and strength. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Help us to order our lives by your counsel and lead us in the paths of righteousness. Be a shield about us, protecting us from hate and war, from pestilence and sorrow. Curb also within us the inclination to do evil, and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Guard our going out and our coming in unto life and peace from this time forth and forever. Blessed is the Eternal, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all people, and over Jerusalem.
Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu, Leshalom, Leshalom. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu. Amida malkenu lechaim leshalom, leshalom. Hashkivenu, Hashkivenu, Adonai, Eloheinu. Touch the Hashirenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom.
O God of Israel, may our worship on this day help us to grow in loyalty to our covenant with you and to the way of life it demands, the way of gentleness and justice, the path of truth and peace. Please rise for the Amida on page 111.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah v'Elohei Rachel Ha'el Agadol Ha'gibor v'Hanora Eleyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'koneh Hakol V'zocher Chastei Avot V'imahot U'mevii Gula Lifnei Bneihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah.
Eternal God, the power of your Spirit pervades all creation. When we open our hearts to you, we are filled with your strength, the strength to bear our afflictions, the strength to refuse them victory, the strength to overcome them. And then our will is renewed to lift up the fallen, to set free the captive, to heal the sick, to bring light to all who dwell in darkness. Add your strength to ours, O God, so that when death casts its shadow, we shall yet be able to say, O source of blessing, you are with us in death as in life. Please be seated. May the sense of God's presence be with us along our way, helping us to discover the peace and rest some have lost or never known, renewing our covenant of peace with all created things. And may we become more than we have been, more than we are, reaching for a perfection beyond our grasp, growing and learning one day to make this day's peace a peace for all days, learning one day to do justly and love mercy and walk alongside the one who walks with us. We turn our thoughts to healing, and as we do, we recognize that over the last week and even earlier, how we have become ever more mindful of how fragile the world is when even a paradise like Maui is vulnerable to destruction. Despite the physical distance and the losses they endured and the fire's devastating impact, it touches us too as we see how easy it is for life to be upended. And closer to home, there are those, many, who are grappling with challenges of their own, those who are in need of healing, of body or spirit or mind. And at this moment, I invite you, if there is someone that you are praying for, someone who is in need of such healing, to share their names aloud with us now, so that they may become part of our prayers as well. For all those named aloud and those named in our hearts, we continue with the prayer for healing on page 126.
Refoinu Adonai b'nerafe, Hoshienu v'nivashea, El karov l'chol korav, ach karov lire'av yishmo. We pray for healing of the body. We pray for healing of the soul, for strength of flesh and mind and spirit. We pray to what can be whole and glorified. Oh, please heal us now. Refuat ha-nefesh, refuat ha-guf, refuat shalema. We pray for healing our people. We pray for healing of the land. Peace for every race and nation, every child, every woman, every man. And God, if I know, oh, please heal us now. Refuat ha-nefesh, refuat ha-guf, refuat shalema. Heal us now. Heal us now. Heal us now.
We continue with the prayers of our own hearts.
אלי נפשי תדום ונפשי כפה לכל תהיה אלוהי. בהגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני, אדוני, אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי בגודל.
It is said, the optimist looks at the bagel and the pessimist sees the hole. Now, what do I mean by that? Let me tell you a story. You may have heard of the town of Chelm. Chelm is a real town in Poland, but in Jewish stories, it is inhabited by confused people who think that they are wise. For example, they believe that the moon is more important than the sun. And why? Because the moon shines at night when we need light, but the sun shines during the day when there is plenty of light already. Such is the thinking of the Chelmites. Well, one day, Shmuel decided he wanted to see what paradise was like. And so he packed some food and started walking to find paradise. He walked all day, stopping a few times to eat, and when night came, he lay down by the side of the road to go to sleep. He was worried, though, would he remember which way to go in the morning? And since he hadn't yet found paradise, clearly it was further down the road. To make sure he went the right way, he took off his shoes and pointed them away from Chelm, and then he went to sleep. That night, a wild dog came by and he saw Shmuel's shoes. He sniffed them. He pushed them around a little bit to see if they were interesting. They were not. And then it wandered off. In the morning, Shmuel woke up and he found his shoes and started walking in the direction that they were pointing, never realizing that they were pointing back toward Chelm. After walking most of the day, he reached a village that clearly must be paradise. Now, it was true that paradise looked a lot like Chelm, but whatever. He was in paradise, he was sure of it, whereas his own village of Chelm was so noisy. Paradise seemed so full of life. Shmuel decided to explore a bit, and when he did, he found a street that looked just like his own street, with a house that looked just like his house. But whereas his old house was so cluttered and small, this house in paradise was cozy and homey. And the food, it was so much better than what he had had in Chelm. And in paradise, he slept better than he ever had before. The next day when Shmuel woke up, he found that he was a little bit bored. So he decided to see if there was a job similar to the one he had had in Chelm. What do you know? There was. And yet this job gave so much meaning to his life, like he was doing something meaningful for the world. He had never felt that satisfaction before while working in Chelm. Eventually, you know the end of the story, right? One of the young women in Chelm caught his eye. She reminded him of someone he had known back in his city, but this woman was clearly even smarter, and she had such a great personality that Shmuel just fell in love with her. They married and had a family, and to the day he died, Shmuel had a wonderful life, thinking that he was indeed living in paradise. Now, we all know, whether from the movies or our own experience, that there is no place like home. All that takes is tapping the heels of those ruby red slippers 3 times, and we'd be transported back to the place where bonds of family offer support and familiar surroundings offer comfort. As we learned during the pandemic, home can be a refuge from the chaos of a world in upheaval. But sometimes, even one's home can't provide the protection and security that we long for and associate with it. Our ancestors recognized that too. Our portion shoftim, which deals primarily with justice, legislating it, meting it out, ultimately pursuing it in whatever form necessary in order to keep peace. In shoftim, our ancestors responded to a need of the community and created cities of refuge, not paradise, but an innovative legal response to protect someone who needed shelter from vigilante justice. You see, in those days, family members who had been bereaved would have the right to avenge the death of a loved one who had died at someone else's hands. In the event that someone had inadvertently committed manslaughter, a terrible and unfortunate accident. For example, let's say an axe head flew off its handle and caused a fatal injury. A city of refuge offered the offender a safe place where they would be protected from the bereaved family's vengeance. Within its walls, they were safe from reprisals because they too were under the protection of the law. And at the same time, it broke the chain of violence so it would not be perpetuated from generation to generation. And while we live in very different times and circumstances, if we look within, we can acknowledge that there are things that we carry from which we may seek refuge too. Maybe it is perfectionism, or an inner critic, or a misdeed for which we cannot forgive ourselves. I'm sure you can add to the list, and I won't ask you to do it aloud. For some, that modern city of refuge might be found, dare I even say it, in an immersive spa experience like Gurney's or Canyon Ranch or Kripalu, whose very environment is designed to shelter or create a temporary refuge from our stresses, to provide the participants with a different perspective. Their very purpose is relief, relief from whatever we harbor within. Only a week ago, the New York Times had an article which told us that a similar relief is right at hand. We don't have to go away. On any given weekend, we can experience relief through a staycation. So a weekend can feel like a taste of paradise, but its success depends on how you frame it. Jamie Kurtz, psychology professor at James Madison University, assures us that a few days at home could bring more happiness, more relief than some far-flung adventure. But it requires a change in our mindset. So to test this theory, this is a scientific study. A marketing professor at the Anderson School of Management, Cassie Holmes, created a study in which one group of participants were asked to enjoy their weekend like any other they would enjoy. And the second group was asked to treat their time like a vacation. And they reported feeling happier and more rested when they returned to work the following Monday. They hadn't yet factored in Shabbat. So two factors here made a difference. One was to identify things that are enjoyed during a typical vacation and to try to incorporate them into your weekend experience. If it was sightseeing, they advised, make an effort to explore a new part of town, be a tourist in your own city. And if it was cuisine, to try a new recipe at home or a new dining experience. And if it was simply the benefit that travel affords many of us, which is to be less available to the demands of work, and so keep it at arm's length, then they advised participants to put down their technology and respond only on a limited basis. The other factor was one that we've already spoken about, a matter of perspective, to anticipate and plan activities which are pleasurable, and thereafter to review them and talk about them and renew their delight by detailing their pleasures with all who agree to listen. Like Shmuel, who was on his way to paradise and ended his journey in the same place he began, but came to see his life through an entirely different lens. His intention created a change in his expectations, and so he found renewal and satisfaction. What had previously been a burden became a pleasure because his perspective was transformed by his own vision of paradise. This new month of Elul calls us to start our own internal transformation so that we may change our perspective of who we are and what we hope to become as we anticipate the new year. In a Hasidic tale, a rabbi once asked a member of his congregation, "If you are going east and suddenly you want to travel west, how far do you have to go?" And the man gave him many thoughtful and complex answers. And the rabbi finally cut him off and responded, "If you are going east and you want to go west, all you have to do is turn around. It's as simple as that." Let us heed the wisdom of these teachers and turn our shoes toward our destination of renewal and repair. And once we take that first step, may we find at the path's end that we have come closer to the person we hope to be. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may it be so.
קטונתי מכל החסדים ומכל האמת אשר עשית את עבדך. קטונתי מכל החסדים ומכל האמת אשר עשית את עבדך. I am humbled by your grace and the truth you have given me. I am humbled by your grace and the truth you have given me. כי במקלי עברתי את הירדן, אתה הייתי לשני מחנות, הצילני נא, הצילני נא, הצילני נא. And in my heart a battle waged, I am divided by two camps. Deliver me, I pray, deliver me. כי במקלי עברתי את הירדן, אתה הייתי לשני המחנות, הצילני נא, הצילני נא, הצילני נא. And in my heart a battle waged, I am divided into camps. Deliver me, I pray, deliver me. I am humbled by your grace and truth.
Page 231.
Let us adore the ever-living God. We render praise unto you. You spread out the heavens and established the earth, whose glory is revealed in the heavens above, and whose greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are God, there is none else. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים.
Page 233. Eternal God, we face the morrow with hope made stronger by the vision of your deliverance, a world where poverty and war are banished, where injustice and hate are gone. Teach us more and more to respond to the pain of others, to heed your call for justice, that we may bring nearer the day when all the world shall be one. On that day, the age-old dream shall come true. On that day, O God, you shall be one, and your name shall be one. Page 242. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Sabbath candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades, its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance, and our lives are full. But as night follows day, the candle of our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. At this time of tender memory, we call to our hearts cherished members of our congregational family who were summoned unto eternity during this past week or at this season in years past. Nathan Ambinder, Ruth Barr, Susan Bykoff, Robert Busen, Asik Braun, Bertram J. Cohn, Zena Davis, Bertha Dintonfass, Barbara Zorinsky Faden, David Green, Peter Gross, Charles Grossman, Sylvia K. Hassenfeld, the Honorable Jerome Hauer, Zoltan Henry, Shirley Kahn, Stanton Herbert Katzoff, Harold E. Klinger, Pauline Lavitt, Bernard Levy, Martin Lorber, Blanche Myers, Parvis Nafisian, Susan Newhouse, Joseph David Pearlstein, Richard A. Plen, Risa Pollack, Abe Pugat, Rosalind Relin, Evelyn Richter, Jay Rosen, Mervyn Ross, Faye Rotenberg, Max Sager, Helen Ehrlich Saltzman, Seymour Bud Sapaden, Ann Schwartz, Eleanor Seiden, Rosellen Siegel, Robert Spire, Ronald Spire, Herman Stuhl, Philip Waterman, Richard E. Weinrich, Herbert J. Weiss, Hans U. Weidler, Francis Sabari, Philip Zack. If you are in recent mourning, we invite you to rise at this time. And for those who are marking a yahrzeit, we would ask that you rise as well. And now we stand together as one congregational family to hallow and sanctify God's name with the words of the Kaddish on page 245. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabah, b'yoma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayedechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'izman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi Shemei Rabba Mivorach Leolam La'almei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpoar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shemei Dekudesha B'rechu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata Da'amiram bi'olma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved among us. And let us say together, Amen. Please be seated. Shabbat Shalom once again. We are delighted that you've chosen to spend Shabbat here with us. You are part of our Kehillah Kedosha, our sacred community, whether it is through prayer or study, community activity or mitzvot. We welcome you, we cherish you, and we count on you. A few announcements of interest. On Tuesday mornings, women of Emanu-El continue to enjoy summer canasta in the city. And Community as Family reminds those who are members who are aging solo, that will join for a schmear and schmooze bagel breakfast this coming Thursday morning. So please be sure that we have your RSVP. And Temple members who are interested in learning more about Community as Family are welcome to call me. When so many are still away during these summer months, it is a perfect time for members to sign up to volunteer. We have many opportunities, and I'll just highlight 3. The Sunday lunch program. Or you might decide to become a reader for our daily evening services, which are held from Sunday through Thursday at 5:30, or perhaps you would like to welcome people as a Shabbat greeter. Each one is a mitzvah unto itself, and we welcome and encourage your participation. At the conclusion of the service, if you will kindly allow us to recess before you leave your seats, we will greet you outdoors at the Oneg, and just a reminder to leave your prayer books on your seats as you go. We continue with Kiddush and Motzi on page 246.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, שקרישנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו, בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון ינהי לנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקרא קודש, זכר ציון Mitzrayim. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Join us now in the closing song, Oseh Shalom, on page 255. Please rise as you are able.
Oseh Shalom b'Roma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'Roma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'Roma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu be'am Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu be'am Yisrael. Oseh Shalom b'Roma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'Roma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'Roma, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu be'am Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Shalom Aleinu be'am Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu be'am Yisrael. Shalom, Shalom Aleinu be'am Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha.
May God's light shine on you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May you feel God's presence within you, and may it grant you an abiding sense of peace.